Introduction. Science has a great property, the self-doubt. When science develops new results and any interpretation contradicts these results, the interpretation will be discarded immediately and a new view on things has to be found. That makes science so charming. The religions, that bring a lot of positive sentiment in our world, have a different nature. They must constantly adjust their view on the world and the universe, and bring their literary works in line with the current knowledge, that is on the basis of scientific results. Scientists often seem annoyed when they hear the word God. At least they do not want to discuss scientifically the word God. That's why many physicists maintain that physics simply has no competence when it comes to God's meaning. If it is so, that more than half the world's population lives in faith, there are approximately 4 billion people who are somehow a believer. Billions of people who live in faith are a fact, and because these people are made of flesh and blood, as a physical being, the existence of love towards the divine will has to be treated scientifically, regardless of whether there may be a God or not. Though not issue of the physics, then at least something like anthropology ought to discuss the theme. Lawrence Krauss is one of my favorite scientists. On the internet you can listen to dozens of scientific papers of him. An average person like me is get a chance to take a look at latest scientific results, and the scientists formulate them so that a person like me can understand it pretty well. Scientific lectures inspire. Since it is not so now that I've read a lot of books, not dozens of philosophical or scientific books and dissertations, Lawrence Krauss has a much higher knowledge than me for sure. Having an outstanding knowledge is a great advantage, but it may be that if someone knows a lot, he is also very coined. That means that he may not really question what he has learned before. If somebody is rather dumb such as me, he will rather look on things like a virgin, who has not made experiences before. When Lawrence Krauss explains to me in YouTube coverage that the universe is something like a flat universe, so that it neither collapses nor will extend infinitely far, then he lets me participate in something that required so much labor and ingenuity. He lifts my knowledge from zero to hero. Without that I would have understood that it required to weigh the universe to come to this conclusion, which is indeed a sensation. This Lawrence Krauss tells me the obvious assumption, in announcing the pending evidence, of a universe that arose from nothing. I have understood it that way, that a universe came out of nothing, but according to the rules of quantum physics it developed, step by step, and ended up in a state as it is today. Perhaps it was so, that a small particle arose out of nothing, then caused something like antimatter, and then everything took its course. I swallowed this statement of the Lawrence Krauss. The idea that something arises out of nothing seems unusual. But the way he said it, it was also plausible. From classical literature we know the motive of the tragedy. A tragic stage play always contains a situation that someone wants to reach and aim, but exactly causes the opposite. For example, if someone buys a new computer, he searches immediately for an antivirus software on the internet, then he downloads and installs it, but at the same time the antivirus software just carries the virus that was supposed to be avoided. This is a tragic motif, transferred to today's world. So this Lawrence Krauss uses his knowledge and ingenuity to prove that it is so, that the universe was created from nothing. So many times has been right before, i.e., with the assumption that the universe is flat. Lawrence Krauss offers evidence for a universe from nothing that developed according to the rules of quantum physics. Introduction.